every 5 years or so, it happens. The lines are drawn, the soldiers load up for another console war. Some of them last, some go down in a blaze of glory, and some just go down in a blaze. The point is, there's always a new console war. But I think the greatest war, the one with the most epic battles and memorable soldiers, was this one, the SEGA Genesis and the Super Nintendo. I mean, we talk about this all the time, but that was a console war with consoles that were actually different. No matter which one you sided with, you were missing something great. And for Sega fans, that's where games like this came in. You see, one thing the Super Nintendo definitely had over the Genesis was RPGs. There was Secret of Mana, Super Mario RPG, Illusion of Gaia, Chrono Trigger, Earthbound. It was just one masterpiece after another. And if you were a Genesis fan who adored the Genesis for all the things that made it so Genesis, but you also liked RPGs, well, you probably needed to cross the line. But at the very least, you had something like Beyond Oasis that brought just a little taste of the Super Nintendo over to the dark side. See, because the Genesis was black. Also, Attitude. So this is actually an interesting game. It was released in 1994, a year after Secret of Mana, and 2 years after Aladdin, like the Disney movie. And I mention it because those seem to be the game's main influences. It plays a guy named Prince Ali, so genuflect and show some respect. Seriously, he even dresses the same. But anyway, Prince Ali accidentally sets a war in motion, and some ancient battle could destroy his kingdom, or whatever. Long story short, it's time to get your mana on. And on the Genesis, no less. You know, I mean this in the best way possible, but that's really all this game is. It's basically a Genesis version of Secret of Mana. Or even a Link to the Past, to be honest. If you like either of those games, and you should, chances are you're gonna love Beyond Oasis. It's mostly the same thing. Top-down action RPG, magic, swords, temples, fairies, 3 screens over, 5 screens down, that kind of thing. Hey, and annoying fucking bats. Where have I seen that before? So, yeah, it's obviously pretty derivative, not very original. But who cares? It was on a system that was competing with a system that had lots of these games. And not only that, but like the greatest versions of these games ever. So yeah, it made sense for Beyond Oasis to just do the same thing, to follow the formula and do it well. And that's what it does. There's a huge overworld to explore, filled with enemies and secrets and dungeons. And when he opens treasure chests, he holds the contents over his head, because that's what legends do. Well, so, does the game do anything differently? Oh, funny you should ask, because actually the combat's a little different. Prince Ali's like a martial artist, so when you swing your sword, a la Link, that can sometimes turn into this like barrage of kicks. In fact, it's almost like a beat-em-up. The attacks just have that kind of feel, which is definitely a cool touch. And perhaps the game's defining element is its use of magic. So as you progress, you unlock these magical spirit things, and you can summon them to perform special attacks. So there's a water spirit, which you can summon from any source of water in the game. There's also this fire spirit, which obviously comes from fire. And the cool thing is that the game uses the magic attacks for some surprisingly complex environmental puzzles, and that definitely gives it a bit of its own flavor. Now, where it falls short, compared to similar Super Nintendo classics, is control. Beyond Oasis just doesn't have the same tight controls. In fact, it takes a little getting used to, especially the magic attacks. I mean, you use A to do them, but some you just tap it for, or you can double tap for a different one, but then to cancel, you have to hold A, B, and C, and it's kind of weird in practice. But on the other hand, it definitely holds its own in terms of presentation. The graphics, the sound, the music. This is a beautiful 16-bit game, with lots of impressive little details, too. You know, you could go down the list. Fighters, Advantage Genesis. Platformers, Super Nintendo wins that round. Shooters, Well, Counterpunch Genesis. Well, you could go back and forth. Those two would just keep trading blows. But fortunately, there are games like this, too. The games that brought something from behind enemy lines, something the other side was known for. And that's the cool thing about this game. An awesome action RPG that wasn't on the Super Nintendo. This Oasis was no mirage. It's Beyond Oasis, and it's for the SEGA Genesis. Huge thanks to our friend Corey from Nashville, Tennessee for sending it in.